This is what's great about our country, is that no matter how tough it can get, we find a way. No matter how hard it is, we look forward to the next day. The idea that people who had been through drought that had gone on for years and years and years, that they're still optimistic, they're still looking forward to what's even ahead, even in the middle of things like trade wars. That's a spirit that desperately needs to be happening in the next couple of guests we're going to have a chat to. Graham Higgins is in Toowoomba. Philippa Ackerman is a wine bar owner in Noosa Harbour. Both of them are currently battling with these bloody border closures. So I wanted to bring them in straight after this conversation about the drought, because we've seen people who've gone through 10 years of tough times trying to find a way and come through to the others. But let's have a chat to you first, Graham. Graham, what's this point of time like where, businesses in Toowoomba, you've been denied the chance to be able to have Easter trade, long weekend trade, Anzac Day trade, and this is after, of course, we started our Our Town journey last year, and you'd had, the best part of 10 years' worth of drought.
Yeah, it's been difficult, Paul, there's no doubt about that. It's probably cost me $60,000 over the last 2 months in lost revenue. If you add it up across the whole industry, it's probably a $9 billion cost across the state, where we've got 250,000 people working in the tourism hospitality industry in Queensland. That's 250,000 people's families and lives that are affected by COVID shutdown. We were on the front foot. We shut before the government actually asked us to, because we believe that leadership means doing the right things. So we believed that it was the right thing to do for our staff and for our guests to protect them and their families. But I'll tell you what, it hurts when people can't travel more than 150 kilometres in a day and they are still prevented from staying overnight. So we have none of our drive market coming to us from Brisbane, the Gold Coast, the Sunshine Coast. We have no one flying into Toowoomba from Sydney or Melbourne to the Toowoomba airport. We don't have international visitors either, obviously, but we don't have people coming from anywhere in Queensland. I mean, it's really, really difficult.
And it's this thing, isn't it, Philippa, where, and we highlighted you at the start of the show because we had a chance to talk last week. There's a dollar drought on right now, but unlike a natural disaster, this is one that is completely government owned. They can control the tap. When it didn't rain, you couldn't turn on the hose. They can turn on the tourists for you tomorrow.
It's a nightmare. It's a right bloody nightmare. I have rent to pay. I have to go into my landlord tomorrow and say, I can't pay my rent. I've been able to pay my rent April, March, but I cannot do May. We need help. It's like I said last week, we need tourists here in Noosa. We need the borders open, or it's not viable. It's really not sustainable. It is a nightmare to work around what we've been given.
How important is it to you that the social safety net has worked to this point, Philippa, about JobKeeper? If JobKeeper didn't exist, would your business have an even fighting chance?
No, I would shut the doors. I would have to hand back the keys. I'm responsible for my business for the next 3 years. If I didn't have JobKeeper, I wouldn't be able to operate. All my staff are on JobKeeper. It is just a huge amount of stress for a mum and dad, small business. We're not funded by anybody. It's just a really tough time. Look, it's not just me, it's everybody that you speak to. Somebody else on our marina has already shut her doors. Who's next? We just need people to come and spend their money and open the borders and be done.
Isn't it this thing, Graham, again, where, you're running a hotel in Toowoomba, you're working hard, you're going all in, you miss your public holidays. I mean, all of the different sacrifices that you've made over all the time that you've owned this thing, and you're being totally fubbed off by people who are pretending that, Queensland's its own country, South Australia's its own country, Tasmania is its own country. I mean, we have concrete bollards literally between the states as if it's East and West Germany.
Yeah, Paul, it's crazy. What we've got politicians that are making decisions, in my opinion, for what are essentially political reasons. And they're doing, in my opinion, what they're doing is they're trying to appeal to the frontier mentality of the states that are generally the frontiers, Queensland, Western Australia, Tassie. We all tend to be perceived as being states that are different from the southern states. And Joe was a great proponent of manufacturing this contest, this difference, this fact that we were isolationists, that we were frontiers, that we were different. And I just have a sense that the current governments, who are 5 months out from a state election, are forward-thinking how they can try and appear to be a little bit breastbeating in terms of trying to make themselves appeal to the frontiers men and women of Queensland. And it's a shame because it's coming at a cost of people's lives, people who've put their lives on the line. They've mortgaged themselves to the hilt. They've got 7-figure mortgages and they've got staff that they've accepted responsibility for employing, and they're working 7 days a week to get nothing from it. Leadership is about doing what's right for people governing. It's not about ensuring that you get re-elected.
No, I agree completely. Philippa, I'm going to give you the last word here. How are you holding on? How are you emotionally holding on? Who's helping you through this?
My family. We're a small family business. I'm hanging on to all I've got. You know, my landlord's not going to appreciate me emailing him tomorrow and saying, look, I can't do May, I can't do June, and I probably can't make July. He's running a business as well. I'm stressed. You know, I'm in the kitchen cooking. I'm not a cook. I've only got a few staff left. You know, my business is so important to me. I brought it 5 years ago and I built it up from scratch. I put my heart and my soul into it. And now this, and somebody's telling me that I can't have more than 10 people in my business is just not sustainable.
Philippa, Graham, strength and love to you both. I look forward to visiting you in person as soon as I'm allowed to, but I'm beginning to think about what's the penalty if I don't, if I don't fill out the forms. All right, thank you very much.
Thanks, Paul. It'd be lovely to have you come and visit us.
Look forward to it. So when those borders come down, write them down. Vacy Hall in Toowoomba, Noosa Harbour Wine Bar. You can check out both of those places.